thanks so much for joining me. Today we are talking all about makeup mistakes that age you. Now this idea is not mine. This comes from the channel Andrea, and the reason I found her is because many of you have pointed out how much you like her and reference her techniques, because I believe I made what she would consider a mistake in a video, and then you let me know, no, Andrea said do it this way. So I knew I had to go check her out. I don't know why it took me so long to find her. She has over 1 million subscribers. She is a makeup artist. I am not a makeup artist. I love makeup, so I'm a makeup connoisseur, but she is a makeup artist. I don't actually watch that much YouTube anymore, but since finding her channel, I have found someone that I really enjoy watching. She is beautiful, very well versed, of course, in makeup application, and points out those mistakes, and not just mistakes, but how to fix them. So I really appreciate that. So if you're not already following her, go follow her, let her know I sent you. She has no idea who I am, but it is always nice to know where the audience is coming from. So if you don't already subscribe, make sure you subscribe, make sure you watch that video. I've watched a few of her videos so far. I really like to pay very close attention to them when I watch those, so I won't usually be doing my makeup at the same time. I will just be watching and taking mental notes, and sometimes taking notes on her application. That's how good she is. I thought this was a really interesting topic because I agree that certain makeup application can inadvertently or unintentionally add the appearance of years. And especially as I get older, if you do not know, I'm 50 years old, so I definitely don't want to add any unwanted or unnecessary years by mistakes in makeup application. So when I saw this pop up, I thought, oh boy, I need to watch this because I probably am making and have made these mistakes. So I was a little curious and a little bit scared to watch this video, but I did watch it, and I think I don't make most mistakes, but there are a couple that I make. So we're going to talk about the mistakes I've made and maybe continue to make, as well as a couple of other things that I feel like are also things that I think of in order to not inadvertently add years to my already 50 years. There are 2 caveats that she mentioned though. One, aging is not a bad thing. We are all going to age. Obviously, I've made it this far, and I think we should definitely be proud of our age. I think to get to 50 is a feat in and of itself, so be proud of your age. And the second one was that if any of these mistakes are your go-tos and they make you feel good, then definitely keep doing those things, because at the end of the day, you're the one wearing the makeup, so whatever makes you feel good. For me, there have always been no hard and fast rules about makeup. I think that's what's creative about it. I think if we think we can or cannot do something, then you're never gonna figure out if something will work or not unless you play around with makeup and experiment and see what it can do. So that is not a bad thing, I don't think. Yeah, I talk about one of those hard and fast rules in the Get Ready With Me that somebody told me, and I did not agree with them because it had to do with my dark spots and how I should be applying foundation. So we'll talk about that a little bit. And I also have a couple other things I wanted to discuss that I think about in terms of not adding any unwanted or unnecessary years. I also picked up a couple of new products by Victoria Beckham I wanted to unbox quickly with you and swatch them. I think that's helpful. And then I tried them on as well as part of this Get Ready With Me. So let's go ahead and open those up. These are both new and new to me, or at least new and back in stock. So I always get this fabric bag, which is a little bit thicker than some of the other fabric bags, so you can actually use this for something. Plus it's quite large compared to the items. This little box here, I love that they include this, is a pencil sharpener. So you get a pencil sharpener because her pencils require sharpening. So I'm really anxious to see this one. This is the Instant Brightening Waterline Pencil. Have not had a lot of luck with waterline pencils. They're usually too light, too opaque, and sometimes they gather a little bit. So we're gonna be trying this one out. Here's the color. I was hoping it would be a little bit more translucent and not completely opaque. I think maybe that's the issue with these waterline pencils for me, is that they're so opaque and so stark against my skin tone. I'd love something that was a little bit translucent but had some very, very fine reflective particles, undetectable particles. I think that would be a beautiful waterline pencil, but let's go ahead and swatch this. But there's a swatch. It looks quite opaque. So one thing I'm gonna watch for when I try this is to see if it gathers, because when it's this opaque, You can definitely see when it's inconsistent, and that's when it doesn't look natural. Definitely be testing it out for that. But I like that it has a little bit of warmth, but I'm afraid it might be a little light. We'll give it a try. I also picked up the Bitten Lip Tint, and this is in the new lighter shade. The shade is Poupette. I tried the original one when it first came out, but it was too dark, like it stained my lips in a very dark shade. It was almost purpley on me. I think it would work well on a lot of people, especially if they don't have too much color to their lips, but I have a lot of natural color to mine, so I don't need anything to really deepen it, but I need it evened out. So you can see the shade there is a little bit lighter, which is great. This is warm, it's lighter. Hopefully it won't deepen my natural lip tone too much, and it might brighten it because it has that warmth. So you've seen those two Victoria Beckham products. We're gonna try them on. I think I try on a new Hourglass product that you haven't seen in action yet. But again, make sure to head over to her channel, watch this video. There's a blush video that I really enjoyed. I've still got to catch up with all of her amazing content. So thank you so much for showing interest in this topic as well. So let's go ahead and get started. We're gonna go ahead in with something that I think helps not add unnecessary years. It is to mattify and kind of smooth this area over a little, because I do have texture here. So I think texture is one of those things that makes me look like I have more years on me if it is emphasized. So that's why I like to go in with this. Put this on a lot. I'm gonna watch the video back for myself just so I can see little segments at a time, make sure I include everything. So one of the first things she talks about is concealer. And when she talked about concealer, she mentioned too much being something that might add years to your appearance, unnecessary years. So I like to go in with this. This is my new little trick. This is the new CHANTECAILLE product, the Sheer Glow Rose Face Tint. And I love to apply this under the eye because it just brightens and then requires less concealer. So that's one thing that I like to do. Again, this is like a new little trick. So I'm gonna just add this here. But I agree that too much concealer can add unnecessary years because it'll look evident, like I have makeup on, it'll emphasize texture. So that's why concealer is really important to me. I'm gonna add it here as well. And I think I like concealer more than even foundation. Yeah, for me, concealer is more powerful than foundation. This is where I like to add this product. So that just refracts the light, nothing sparkly in there, but it allows me to go in with even less concealer, and I'm going to use a pretty lightweight product, the Beige Water Fresh Complexion Touch. It's been my favorite go-to concealer. I have been using this more as a concealer than anything else. This is in the shade B30. She just applied right here and then at the ends, but I'm gonna use a different concealer for the ends because I need my concealer to do a little bit more work. I know some of you have been loving this as well. She also talked about going in this V, how that can add unnecessary years to someone's appearance. And I don't think I've ever done that triangle. At least I've never done that intentionally. It might end up in those areas, but I don't put a lot of concealer in this part right here. I think I learned that because I have texture, I have pores, and I noticed that when I add more layers or thick layers, it definitely adds to the texture. Because I have these dark spots, you know, I need a little bit heavier duty concealer. I can go in with some lighter concealers now, but really if you have any discoloration, especially with texture, this Clé de Peau, it's why I use it here, is the best for that because a little bit goes a long way and you get some really nice coverage without adding texture. The life of this concealer is quite amazing. You saw how quickly I was able to cover that up. Works on texture very well. And I've got some broken capillaries as well. So really just concealing as needed or where needed. So I don't remember her actually talking about foundation at all. I don't know if she had foundation on. I just saw her go in with a concealer. So you could see how that covered up my amazing blemish. I might also use this for the corner. That's why I need a different concealer. I need something that will stay in place, and that one does. So you can see quickly what a difference that makes. I agree with point number one, less concealer and not making it a thick layer of concealer. Yeah, I agree, strategic concealer and less is more. Definitely agree with that. Okay, I'm gonna finish this up and watch the next section. Okay, so the next part was about powder and baking under the eye. I don't actually put powder into my eyes anymore because the products that I found don't require setting. So the Sisley concealer is lovely. I love that one. Even more lightweight, again, is this Luggage Water Fresh Complexion Touch. And then we've got a little bit more brightening. You know how I love that. So I can go in with something like the CHANTECAILLE Le Camouflage Concealer right in this area, or La Prairie Concealer, which I love as well. So I'm going to use that today. I feel like I've been using the Le Camouflage Concealer quite a bit. So let's go in with La Prairie again. This is in shade 4. It's just a bit brighter than my concealer. So it's just going to pop right in that darkest area. I really don't have much darkness or bags under my eyes, but there's a little bit. So I like to just do this. So that doesn't require me to conceal the entire eye area. I just conceal, well, I did a light concealer, but then I can be a little bit more targeted here and requires less product overall. So I'm not putting 2 layers of concealer everywhere. I'm just putting a second layer just right in here where it needs a little bit of brightening. And again, this does not require me to powder. I have normal under eye area, you can see. So between the CHANTECAILLE product, brightening, and then you've got the lightweight concealer, and then this, it's really very little makeup. So when people ask, is it necessary to put 2 different concealers on? For me, I notice a difference, but I really think it's up to what you like. I'm not even gonna powder in the center yet because I do wanna go in with a lovely blush in a bit here. But the next thing I think was contour. So she talked about not contouring because at some point that may inadvertently add unnecessary years on, because when someone's youthful, she explained, their face is typically round, and I have had a round face for so many years. I finally have cheekbones. Those came in around 35, so I've always had a very round face, especially when you compare my face to something like my mom's face. She has very prominent cheekbones, really nice bone structure in the eye area as well. So for me, I think that's maybe why I look younger than 50, because of the shape of my face. It's still quite round. So I am gonna go in though with this bronzer. She talked about a cream bronzer. So using bronzer instead of contour. I don't typically use contour anymore. If I do, it's because it's a cooler color, but I will always blend with a bronzer. So I love bronzer. This is the Chanel number 392 Tan Medium Bronze. I love this one. I also love powder bronzers, but we're gonna go in with cream because she talked about that. And she talked about applying it a little bit higher up. And I do that as well. I've always done that because I feel like it kind of actually slims my face a little bit, even though she talked about keeping that fullness. I feel like it does slim just a little bit, gives it a little bit of an uplifted look. I think that's what it does on me. But just through trial and error, I discovered that along the way, that placing it higher gives it a little lift. And then I loved her little trick of going like this to give a lift to the eye area. I thought that was something I need to start doing. I love that trick. So you can see right there. Very subtle, really pretty. That's why I love her style so much. It's just very subtle, strategic placement of makeup that makes all the difference. I would love to have my makeup done by her someday. I know she's in France. Yeah, she probably doesn't do makeup for regular people like me, but I think that would be amazing. There are very few makeup artists that I would want to actually do my makeup, and she would be one of them. I can think of maybe 2 other people that I would want to do my makeup. Let us know in the comment section below, who would you want if you could have any makeup artist do your makeup? Who would it be? I'd love to know. But I think a lot of you come here because you like her style, and it's more along the lines of what I do, where it's more subtle, more everyday makeup. Yeah, that's my favorite new trick. Just taking the bronzer and sweeping it up like that. So far, the first few, number 1 was taking it easy with concealer, not going in too heavily. I think I do that anyway because I am very sensitive to texture. Not sensitive, but I notice it. So I try to stay away from anything that will build texture, and that's why I don't like sparkly things so much. Second tip was not baking. I don't do that. I don't even powder under the eye area. And then bronzer, love bronzer, and just placing it really high above. I think she even went onto the cheek, but I like to just go maybe to this point right here. But yeah, I still have that roundness to my face. Okay, let's see what she has next. I don't believe she goes into blush in the video, but she has a separate blush video that I've watched. So I just want to do a little blush right now before we keep going. So I have this Monica Blender blush, which I'm loving. It's the Liquid Flush. I know some of you picked it up after you saw it. I love when people, creators of their products, respond when you post something of theirs. So I posted a picture on Instagram and I think she liked it or something like that. So I really appreciate that they appreciate other people talking about how good their product is. So we're gonna apply it here. I saw her video on blush. If you haven't seen it, make sure you see it, but she does talk about placing it a little bit higher. And I'm using this Clé brush, but I like to also, I think she stops right there, but I like to bring it up further just to bring this concealed area together. And I don't know if I talked about how I like trying to even out the skin tone, because I think the uneven skin tone, I know some of us have a lot of challenges with it, but as much as possible to even out the skin tone without covering up too much skin. If you saw, I didn't apply foundation, but I was able to even out what I could. So I just concealed strategically. Because I think actually someone told me I need to be using high coverage foundation, full coverage. And I thought, no, I don't. I do not need to be doing that because the rest of my skin is very nice. It's just right here. So I'm not going to cover my whole face because of a couple of little spots. Please do not feel like you have to cover your entire face if you have some kind of discoloration, because it can be done just concealing strategically. So I do take it all the way up to the front just to bring it together a little bit. And I do go quite high with my blush as well. Just like with the bronzer, I just keep things higher. What I love about this blush is it doesn't look like much here, but it's really pretty on the skin. And I went really easy on the concealer today, so you may see a little bit through to the skin, but the texture, it's so very smooth, and willing to compromise a little bit for that, especially in the daily and especially in person, because you can really see someone's skin up close when you're in person. Oh, and she didn't talk about this either with the texture piece, so that's why I like to go in with very subtle blushes that have just the finest glow, because I don't like texture to be emphasized. So that's another thing. So let me go ahead and just powder really fast. Just gonna do the Perfect Blur powder here and powder here. And I just powder in the center. I don't powder everywhere because I'm more oily in the center, and this does a little bit more blurring for me, the Perfect Blur powder. So it blurs the texture, it blurs discoloration. So again, just being really intentional about where I'm placing this. And if you notice, I don't actually ever powder the top of my nose, the bridge of my nose, because it's so small, my nose. And if I powder this, it looks like I have no nose. It looks like I just have two nostrils in my face. So that's why I don't do that. I want a little bit of a glow on the bridge of my nose. And then I'll go in with another blush. I know she doesn't really talk about blush in the video, but if I'm gonna pick a blush, it's not gonna be glittery at all. It's going to have a little bit of a glow, but before that, I'm just gonna go with my older Clé, and thank you for letting me know that the coating on there are some that are more brilliant and there are some that are not. So I need to try the other 2-digit ones, but I looked at the colors, I wasn't quite sure, but I love this just to bring about bone structure here, and it also blurs a little bit more. And just, these are all very thin layers. And when I look here in the mirror, I wanna make sure it looks good in real life as well. So you could see how that just refracts the light, doesn't add any texture. That's what's so magical about this, at least number 18 of the previous version. I'm gonna go in really gently with this Valentino blush, which has a really lovely subtle glow, doesn't bring about texture. It just smooths over this whole area, it just brings a lot of cohesion. So that's why I spend so much time on this area right here, because it gives me color. And she did talk about that as we get older, we lose color in our cheeks and our lips. So that's why I always make sure I have blush on. Plus, I love blush. You saw me get really excited about this Monica Blender blush earlier in another video. So yeah, that's why I love blush, because it just brings life back to the face. She also did mention that as we get older, we lose color in our lips, which has not happened to me yet. So I have always had color to my lips. I probably always will, but we're gonna go with brows. So I did make this mistake, I have to say, because it was almost due to need. I didn't have these brows. I've been using Grande brows, so my brows have been coming back really nicely. But before there was sparse areas, this one was way smaller than the other one. So I went in with a brow product that was almost like paint, but I did go through the spoolie, but I have to say it was more like a block of color, but I don't have to do that anymore. But this product was quite good. I can't remember the name, but it didn't move. I used it for years until my brows came back. But now I do just go in with a brow gel and a little bit of pencil. So this is the DIOR, you know, I love this one. And it's got really great hold. Now mine has color. She talked about making sure the color isn't too dark, eyelash, and she used a clear one, but I do like this one. I need a little bit more volume as well. So this helps. It builds volume on the brows because it'll thicken them up. Her brows are beautiful. Mine are not as easy to tame. I would like to try the clear one though by DIOR. So I like to fluff them up. This is a trick I learned from Chanel when I did an online class, was take the brows and brush them up. Just get them as fluffy as possible to see what you're working with. Because, you know, because then I can see, oh, I don't need to add as much pencil because my brows are actually quite full once they get fluffed up. So I used to add pencil first, and then I think it was this Chanel class that taught me, let's do the gel first to see what you've got and then go in with pencil. So I think that's when I really started to change up the order of things. And now I'll just go in with the brows sometimes. Not brow, the gel. Sometimes I'll just use the gel sometimes and skip the pencil, especially if I've run out of time. So I do agree with this, but I have to say I did make that mistake of making the brows too dark and too solid, but because of the Grande brow and my brows coming back, I don't need to do that anymore. And she also talked about the color, making sure the color isn't too dark. And this is a brown color, it's a dark brown. FLORASIS brow pencil. And really just, I love the product she used. It was like a brow flick. So it's almost like a pen type of product. But I've tried those and they don't adhere well to my skin for some reason. But I love the idea because I think that probably is your most precise hair-like appearance. But that was just in the front, over here, and then at the end. It really didn't add that much at all. Okay, I'm gonna finish up my brows and watch the next part. So brows, I have said how important I think they are. They really make a difference on at least my face to get them tidy in place, and they're never even, but as even as possible and just tidy. So we're gonna go in with the next one, which I think may be controversial, but the way she applied it, I thought, okay, I agree with her. But I wanna say I am guilty of this mistake, but I also don't apply it the way she did. So it's the eyeliner one. She talked about using black eyeliner and lining on the top, on the bottom, and then she didn't even want to get into the waterline. I have done that. I have done that with a beautiful black eyeliner, but I don't just leave it there. I will, usually that's happening with a very bold eyeshadow. Something like Byredo, I'll I'll go around and just tight line, go in the waterline. I'll kind of make a base for everything and then start putting shadows on top. I know I've never done a completely black eyeliner and then just left it there. It's always smoked out or has some kind of really bold color with it. And then she talked about not putting mascara with it. If you look at her video, yeah, I agree with her the way she applied the black liner. Now, I have seen other women, and I think it depends on eye shape, really be able to do that. It's a smudged out black eyeliner though, and it's also in the waterline. I think I've seen it look really pretty. Does it add years? Because that's the topic of this video. I don't know. I don't know. That one, I'm not sure, but the way she applied it, I'm gonna say it did. But we're gonna go in with an eyeliner. I loved the taupe one that she used, but I don't see taupe in very many lines. I have all the Victoria Beckham eyeliners. There isn't one in there. I have all of the Chantecaille eyeliners. There isn't one in there. There was a matte taupe by Chanel. I don't know if it still exists, but I feel like it's a harder color to find. It looked really pretty on her, but I'm gonna go in with this one, which I haven't used on camera. I use it kind of in the background. I never had a chance to, I don't know, or have I? You'll let me know. It's the Hourglass one in the green color in Forest. So I'm just going to apply it to the top, and I'm going to tightline with it. Oh, I have something on my nose. Tightline with it. And she did talk about that tightlining. And then I'm going to apply as normal. So I typically, because of the shape of my eye, I typically start here and then go out and make a little teeny tiny flick. Or actually, I'll go backwards just like this. So like this, and then do a little flick. And I loved how she just took her clean hand and then she smudged it. I love that. I love the softness of that look. It's intense at the base of the lashes, but then it's soft on, oh gosh, I just poked myself in the face. And then it's soft on the top. I think it's really pretty. I just put on the teeniest bit. I didn't line above the lash line here because there's so little lid space. I don't want to take that up, but also make the shape of my eye a little bit more round. But I do want this uplifted shape. So that's why I like that. Pretty liner, like a little bit makes such a big difference. And then I especially love that she included that tip that I do anyway, just to clean up. Like, this is the easiest way to clean up and get my eyeliner going in the right direction or evenly, because sometimes it's not even. Well, most of the time I can't apply it evenly, but this helps. So I follow the line from the bottom lash line all the way up, and I do this. So that's how I clean up the sides. Make sure I don't put that on my face. That's how I clean up this part of my makeup. Okay, so let me do this other side. Talking about the lower lash line, I'm not going to apply anything with color yet, maybe at all, we'll see. But I want to show you this Victoria Beckham pencil that we unboxed because I think the red in my waterline can add years, or at least make me look like I'm tired. So that's why I like to put eyeliner in the waterline sometimes. But I've been looking for this kind of brightening pencil. So I wanted to show you what this looks like. So I'm going to go in gently because depending on how heavy-handed you are, it's a little bit more stark than I want. So just going in light-handedly, very subtle, but you can see the difference. Not quite sure of the longevity of this. I've used it a few times. I keep trying to remember to watch for wear, but so far it's not bunching up like a lot of these do on me. For some reason they'll bunch up and then it looks really like artificial, you can tell. But when I go in with a thin layer like this, it's a little bit more translucent and not as stark. And then she talked about mascara. I love mascara. I think mascara does so much. It's one of the most transformative products I use. We've got Chantecaille's Faux Longest Lash Mascara. So that's why I love, love, love mascara. She mentioned she was blessed with beautiful lashes. I was not. My lashes forever were long, not long, they were short and straight and wouldn't curl. So I think the best eyelash curler I found though is the UEMURA eyelash curler. That one's the best one so far. It has a nice curve to it. But my lashes now are because of Latisse. Now there's a reason why there is a prescription for Latisse. I have a prescription for Latisse. There are side effects. So make sure you are well in the know of what those side effects are, that you see a doctor who can prescribe it for you. But I've been using it for years and years. She also mentioned adding mascara to the bottom lash can age you. I don't know if I totally agree with that. I don't know. Let me know what you think about that one. I love adding mascara to my bottom lash, but today I will not add it, but that would be one that I'm guilty of. I definitely add mascara to my bottom lashes, but let me know if you notice a difference. I like it. Then she talked about lips next, or lipstick, and how metallics, I agree. Metallic lipstick can make my lips look really wrinkly because they're not smooth to begin with. So that, with the same with the reflective quality, bringing out texture. Same thing for the lip area, does bring about texture for me. So I agree with that. Then she talked about nude colored lipsticks. I don't really wear them anymore, but I liked the little trick she did where she added a little bit of pink to the middle. I thought that was really pretty, but I thought we could go in with this Poupette by Victoria Beckham because I like the idea of a lip stain because it doesn't add layers to the lip area, and plus it evens it out, gives it a little color. Now, her first one that she ever came out with didn't work for me. It made my lips look kind of purpley, but this one is a little bit brighter looking, a bit warmer. So let's go in with this and see. Oh, she talked about lip liner too. Now, I don't add lip liner because if you look at my lips, they look like they're already lined. So I don't need to. If anything, I add lip liner to cancel that out so I get a more even application of lipstick. So I guess I'm guilty of that one. But I do have a couple of favorite ones I love. Like the CHANTECAILLE one that I talk about all the time. Isam actually has some really beautiful lip liners as well. Did I say lip liner? Eyeliner? I meant lip liner if I've been saying eyeliner. Okay, so this is Poupette. Yeah, so my hope for this is that it just warms up my lip color a little. So this is Poupette. I added just a little bit more to the exterior so it would even it out. But I like the idea of a lip stain. I feel like it's an easy kind of product to use. So we're gonna let that dry a little. And then I wanna try the trick that she did by adding a little bit of pink to the center. So I'm gonna take this color because I use this in the background. I don't talk about it as much, but on the daily, I love this one. This is the Chanel #1 in Lively Rosewood because you can just kind of pat it on the lips and it gives you really nice natural flush of color without looking like you spend all kinds of time on your lipstick, because I don't spend all kinds of time applying this. So I'm gonna take this and just apply it to the center. But I did want to show you that Poupette. And this is actually my favorite way to apply this. I don't apply it all over the lips. I will just apply it to like the center and then a little bit to the exterior because of the natural lip liner I have. And then I just kind of gradually taper off towards the ends. I think it looks really fresh. And then when I'm really worried about texture, I'll go in with a gloss. Make it just look a little bit more plump. I'm gonna go in with this one. This is Tower 28 in Coconut. And I just apply gloss in the center. I don't like gloss all over because my lips are so full anyway that I just like to apply in the center. Okay, so you saw all of the tips in action, what my mistakes were, but for the most part, I don't think I made those mistakes. And like I said, I don't watch YouTube that much, so I feel like maybe that's why I didn't make as many mistakes, because I think many of the mistakes actually have come from people watching YouTube. And she talked about that as well. So that might be why. A couple of other things, though, just evening out that skin tone, I think as much as possible is important, or at least blur it without adding too much makeup. Like I said, adding a full coverage foundation for just these two spots here doesn't make a lot of sense to me, especially when I don't love thick foundation on me, because I think it adds texture to my skin. So that is one thing, evening out skin tone without adding a full face of heavy foundation. The second one was adding things that don't have a lot of, she talked about in the lip color, but not in highlighter or anything like that. Blush, I avoid things with very detectable particles because that will bring about texture on me. That's why I don't typically wear highlighter, and that's why I love something like this by CHANTECAILLE. That's why I love this blush by Valentino, the Clé de Peau blushes. Not all of them, 2 of them have a very subtle glow. Oh, it's kind of like the luminizing face enhancer. Now that I think about it, some of their blushes have some detectable particles while others do not. And then, like I said, number 18, something like this face enhancer from the previous version where it's very subtle glow. I think that's what helps maintain that kind of healthy skin without adding texture. So those are my couple of things I wanted to add on to that. I would love to know what your tips are. What are some things that you do that help you not inadvertently add unwanted or undesired years to your appearance? I'd love to know what those things are. Please let us know in the comment section below. And do you agree, disagree with these tips? Let us know, do I look like I haven't added years to my face? I'm sure you'll let me know, but I think this is a really fresh look. It's nothing really exciting in terms of makeup, but it covers all the bases in terms of bright eyes, healthy looking skin, just some color to the lips, and the framing of the face of the eyebrows. So let me know. I would love to know your thoughts. That is it for today's video, so please take care of each other, stay well. If you enjoyed this video, if you learned something, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and I will see you next time.